What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade basketball analysis coming to y'all with that quick analysis today. Another question that I've been asked is, what should the Wizards do? They have went on a win streak and they have looked a lot better against weaker competition, but you still got to win games and you still have to get them done. And they have found a way to give themselves a chance to get into the play-in tournament, especially with Zach LaVine going out. I don't really think it matters that much because I don't look at the Wizards as a threat if they make it to the play-in and they win a spot in the playoffs. I don't look at them as a dangerous team. They have proven that basically the entire season, and even now they could have lost today and they found a way to win it. That's what you want to do, but Russ and Bradley Beal doesn't scare me if I had to be honest. If I'm an opposing team that's a top team in that conference, and at the same time, even if they do, they're not going to go far. And that's the problem when you build teams that just good enough to make it to the playoffs. You kind of fool the fans. You get them excited, you get them happy, but you already know that they're not going to do much. Even if they win one or two games, ultimately you know they're going to get put out. Even if they pull out an upset, ultimately you know they're not going to the finals. That's something that we know. When I seen this Wizard team coming into this year, I did not have them making it to the playoffs, and I never regretted that. Even now, even though they have went on a win streak, they're not even really close to making a playoff spot still after the win streak. If I had to be honest, this team has been abysmal. Their defense has been some of the worst that I have seen. That I've stated that multiple times, and it still has been proven true to this day. Also, they do have quality role players, but they don't have enough skills. They have guys that can do particular things, and that's it. None of them are great defensively, even their stars. Bradley Beal is an offensive force. He's a great playmaker. He can score basically from anywhere on the court whenever he wants to. That's why he's been leading the league in scoring for majority of the year, and he has a chance to still do it as he's going to need to get 30 or more points for this team to really continue to win or even be competitive. That's how much they need him, and that's how good of a player he has been on the offensive end. Russ has been triple double. He's going to get his points. He's going to get his shots. He's going to get his rebounds. He's going to get his assists. We know what Russ is capable of. We know what he has done throughout his career. Hasn't really been known as a playoff winner um, as the solo act, but that's then and now he had the injury. He's playing more games. He looks a lot better. He looks a lot more aggressive, and the team has been feeding off that, which is important because that's his style, that's his game, and that's how he impacts the game on the offensive end. Um, the biggest problem with this team is that you don't really care about anybody but them two. And Russ has been a guy throughout his career from the beginning, even in college and high school, into now. Um, he has been erratic. You don't really know offensively what you're going to get out of Russ. One game he can light you up, but the next game he can't make a shot. Even during his win streak, he has had those type of games, even when they've been winning. And when you're playing against better teams and you're playing against better players, you need your second or first best player to be consistent. You need him to be dominant every single game, and Russ will have to do that if they want to make it to the play-in game and have a shot to make the playoffs. You know, I don't really like that goal because I don't really see, like I said, this team as a threat. I don't really like this team constructed. I don't really like the team coached either. And by the way, this is who they have been the entire year. You know, they have been one of the worst teams and at the bottom of the Eastern Conference for basically the entire year. And that's still relevant even after this win streak. One thing I will definitely say about this team is what are they going to do? It's not too many free agents that's running to go play with them. And even if they could, they probably have better options. I was kind of confused that they kept this team together as they have been one of the worst teams in the entire conference throughout the entire year from beginning to now. Um, they have had spots where they have looked like a team that can make a run and then it never happens. They are picking the right time to make a run, but even then, what are you really doing? As I said before, I kind of wonder what is a good player for this team. They have some young wings that have accepted their role, and they haven't really tried to play too much bigger than what they can do. Rui has had games that have been huge. He has had games where he has been that third best guy. Denny was a role player coming in the draft that hasn't changed much, but I don't really see him with a lot of upside either. Rui has improved to me this year, and his offensive game has been made easier playing with Russ and Bill, especially when they're on the court. He has been that guy that just has to finish or knock down a shot, and he has always been capable of that. Now he's just getting an easier opportunity now that Russ is healthier because John Wall didn't play with him because he missed the entire season last year, so he didn't have that chance last year. But now he has it with Russ. And I kind of wonder what piece can they find. Some people believe that this team was going to be amazing. This team was going to be outstanding, and they haven't throughout the whole entire year. And you wonder, are they going to give up some draft compensations to get that player? And who is going to be that player? Because this team, for them to be so bad the entire year, you kind of wonder what player can really change this team from being one of the worst teams in the East to actually being a team that can be a contender. Because this team is far from it. They have shown that the entire year. So if you're not going to be able to find that through the draft, which will be tough, because if you're trying to win and make the play in, you're hurting yourself to get a high draft pick. In return, you can use that to get a superstar or all-star caliber player. But if you go for the play in, you're not going to be able to get that because your record is going to be better, hurting your odds and chances of getting a higher pick, which you then don't have that as a tool to get a player or even draft a player that can become that player. Another thing is they made the trade to get Russ because they felt like Russ was an upgrade over John Wall, and that hasn't worked out at all this year so far. And if you're going to keep Russ and Bradley Beal together and you don't really have a way to get a superstar in free agency this year, which none are available to be honest with you, which is unfortunate for the Wizards, you would then have to trade for him. Do I want Rui? Do I want Denny? No. That's why you rather have the high pick to either get that guy drafted or you rather use that to get another player with those guys and some other picks. So they're in a tough situation where they put all their eggs in one basket and it spoiled and it went rotten. It didn't really work the way they thought it would work. People looked at this team as a playoff lock with Russ and Bradley Bill on this team, and they have been the complete opposite, which has happened the entire season. So I kind of wonder what's the step that they need to take to get themselves back into that contender role. Remember, John Wall and them always had them, within the playoffs when they was at their best. And Bradley Beal obviously has peaked to a significant amount compared to where John Wall was at that time. But we never got to see them play at that level because Bradley Beal had it last year and this year, and John Wall wasn't a part of that. But now they are kind of forced to make a decision. Do they want to keep this duo together and be mediocre at best since there are no free agents out? Or do they want to blow this thing up, which I thought that they should have did already, um, and try to go in a different direction because I don't really see where this is headed, especially if Russ has said that he's on one leg and if he can't play and he can't stay healthy, and this is a guy you're paying $40 million and he can't stay on the court and he producing um, to a mediocre result with the entire team at full strength now, what can you really do? I really want to know what the front office is going to do um, with this team because they're far away from being a championship team. They have shown that they're one or two pieces away from being a playoff team. But what is that? You selling your fans false hope again. You know you're not going to be a great team even this year when they had Russ and Bradley Beal before they even played a game. I thought they would be bad and they have been. But I still do wonder what's next for this team to get over the hump and be back in that contention area because they're far away from it. Other than that, I'm kind of concerned about this franchise because they have a guy that a lot of people respect, a lot of people would love to play with because he is so, dominant on the offensive end. And with a change of scenery, maybe he'd have more motivation defensively if he's playing with higher stakes and actually can do more. Bradley Beal has shown loyalty to Washington. He has said that he wants to stay in Washington. He has become a star in Washington, to an all-star in Washington, and has had his best years because he has only played for Washington. The thing is now, can they return the loyalty with making this roster significantly better, so he can actually win something, um, team wise in Washington. They felt like John Wall was in the right direction. They felt like he was done, so they went to Westbrook, and it hasn't worked. It hasn't. Even if they make the playoffs, that's not enough. Bradley Beal has been one of the most dominant players the last 2 years offensively, absolutely unguardable. The problem is they haven't really did anything with him doing that. And that's something that's going to have to change if you want to continue to keep him happy. He wants to be there. He loves being there. And he has become one of the best players in the world. Now you have to put the team around him so that way he can reap the benefits of his work ethic and his dedication to the game and the team. You should want to give that back to him. And they have failed to do that the last 2 years because of injuries and because of gambles that didn't pay off. But since he still doesn't want to be traded or leave, you still have time to fix it. And if you have time to fix it, you should start now as he's getting ready to head into his 30s. And you already know Russ is in his 30s. So you have a bunch of young players and a bunch of veterans and didn't really have the results that you were expecting, what you thought that you would have, and what the media and the people have thought that they will have. The question to me is, where are they going to go? Are they going to go with the rebuild and say, you know what, Bradley Beal, you want to stay here, but we just can't put the talent around you? Or is they going to say, we got two all-star caliber players when healthy, let's try to make some swings for the fences and get that third guy to come with them and, see what that heads us the next 2 to 3 years. Other than that, we know this is a result driven league, and if you're not winning and if you're not contending, it's going to eventually end in a rebuild. We've seen that with Orlando and so many other teams within the last 7 to 10 plus years. It's either you're winning or you're not. And if you're not winning, you go young. If you are winning, you're trying to win a championship or be a dangerous team. The Wizards are neither one of those right now. And they have to find an identity, they have to find a direction, and they actually have to figure out what they're going to do now if this does fail with them missing the playoffs. This has been a disaster. It has been catastrophic so far this season. This was the worst case scenario, even though I thought they would be this bad. Everybody else thought differently. Now they have to figure out how to dig themselves out of this hole and get this thing moving in the right direction. What that is, we have to wait to find out. Um, Crazy part about it is I don't even think they know. Other than that, Quinn Wade analysis. I'm gone. Be back tomorrow. Bye.